Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Blind Android Users Podcast. I'm Dennis Long, along with Warren Carr and Austin Pinto, and we are here to preview Signal and talk about CSE as well. Signal and Telegram is what we're previewing, and Signal and Telegram are alternatives to WhatsApp. And why might you want an alternative to WhatsApp? Well, WhatsApp was in the news this week because they share things with Facebook. They later tried to backtrack it. We'll give you the link to the article. You decide for yourself. This is, of course, if you're outside of the EU. If you're in the EU, you are not subject to this because they protect people's privacy. So, Warren, I believe you're going to demonstrate Signal on the PC and phone, right? But before you do that, let's talk about the CSE. And Samsung announced their phones today. And if you're a Galaxy fan and you love the SD cards, I hate to disappoint you, but you're not getting your lovely SD cards this year. I personally think it's a bunch of crap. I mean, you know, what the hell? People buy these things to have the SD cards. People like that feature. Why would they take it away, you ask? Because they can make more money. Cloud storage, $10 a month versus $100, and the damn thing lasts you for 2 years or better. What's better for the company? $10 a month. If you don't like it, I encourage you to complain to Samsung, Facebook, tweet, Instagram, call them, email them. If you want to see more news articles or less news articles, let us know at contact us at blindandroidusers.com. That's contact us at blindandroidusers.com. You can also join our group. That's Blind Android Users, plus subscribe at groups.io. Warren, take it away with Signal for the PC and phone.
All right. Thank you so much, Dennis, and for such a wonderful introduction. Hey, Austin, are you hiding out there?
So I'm hiding in Mumbai, India. So it's very nice and nice climate.
There you are, Austin. Austin is there in India. And so we are going to talk about a little bit about that CES, like Dennis has said, so that's what it is. And, we'll just see what the market, says, because the market determines whether Samsung is right or wrong. And so we'll wait to see what happens with that.
The CSC has a lot of interesting accessibility things this year. And, there's definitely some things with Samsung. Like I said, the phones, you've got the Samsung, they're coming up with some kind of fitness tracking thing as well. It's going to be an interesting year. They do have a cheaper version. I think it's the A32. I don't know if that'll be available here in the US, but that does have an SD card slot. It's a 5G phone, and it does have, a headphone jack. Oh, wow. They can put things people want in lower budget phones. Gee, why can't you do that?
But Dennis, you got to understand this. We're going to give that to you guys, but you know what? We don't want to put it on the more expensive one because it's going to ruin the beauty of that flagship phone. So we put it on a not so good phone, a mid-ranger, and the people are not going to mind it, and that's how it ought to be. But, like you are talking about accessibility, I think it was so nice to hear them talk about accessibility, the Google representative coming up on Samsung.
I think that is going to be a good thing.
That was a very good thing that they're unifying things together. And I think that's a win-win situation.
That should have been done years ago, in my opinion, bringing the multi-finger gestures to TalkBack, which starts in Android 11, bringing the Braille keyboard to TalkBack. Google's making some really nice accessibility strides, and let's hope 2021 continues down that road.
Yeah,
and things get better. Things I'd like to personally see: system-wide copy and paste for one, better keyboard and Braille support for another. Because it is the 21st century, and if you compare the other operating systems, keyboard and Braille support is better. And let's get it on par, and let's take this thing to the next level so that people that want an open source platform but can't use a touchscreen, but they can use a Braille display or a keyboard, can use it and get great access. and have
That's
the
good.
same access.
Really good. Hey, Austin, any comments before we move on to our demonstrations and
So
things like that?
this year's CES was very nice. I think Intel launched a lot of CPUs for their desktops and laptops and a lot of things. So it was really good CES this year. Yeah, another comment that I have on the Unpack event. I don't know, Samsung, they have just copied Apple this time. They have not included a charger with the phone. And they said in the event that we noticed that people are not using the charger. I don't know how they can notice that and how they know whether people are using the charger or not using the charger. I don't know why they are copying Apple. Everyone is copying Apple. I hope OnePlus and others don't do that, because if people want to upgrade from a feature phone to that phone first, that is the first smartphone that they have, or even if they have an old phone which has a micro USB charger and now the chargers are coming with USB C, they have to spend extra moolah to buy the charger. That is no bueno. So Samsung should not do such a thing. I don't know what, and I hope this thing really retracts. I hope they are proven wrong. This whole removing the SD card slot, not including the charger, I hope they are proven wrong. And I hope the next year's Galaxy S20, S22, or whatever they call the next year's Galaxy S20 series, I hope that has all these things. So that's my comment on the CES and the Unpack event.
All right, now, so I'm going to go into demonstrating the signal on both the computer and on the phone. And the first thing we want to do is to make sure that we install Signal from signal.org. That's signal.org, signal.org. And I have downloaded the installer. When you go there, you can download it for either the computer or for the Mac or for Linux. And so I'm using the Windows computer, so I have that downloaded. So now I'm going to go find the Signal installer. And from here, I can show you how to install it. So I'm going to go to my downloads and find that installer. I'm in my downloads and I'm going to find my Signal installer.
Earlier this week expanded. Signal Desktop Win 1.39.4 X.
So I'm going to going to click on that and start the installation.
0%. Signal setup dialog.
So there goes the installer.
Signal setup 70%. Signal setup dialog.
Says 80%. So when you're doing the installer, you run the installer, it has to download all the components from the web. Now that I have Signal installed, it is time to link it, because right now you're not going to be able to do anything with it until it says Signal unavailable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my phone now.
Scanning face. 9:52 p.m. Device unlocked. Pixel launcher. Thursday. Jan 14.
Open Signal.
Signal.
So when you launch Signal, there are 3 buttons near the top. The top left corner is the settings shortcuts. Then on the right, we got 2 buttons. There's a search, and then there's some more options to the farthest right, all to the top right. So whether you tap on the settings shortcut on the left or you tap on the more options, you're going to find what you're going to find in the settings shortcut on the left. So I'm going to tap instead the more options on the right because it has other stuff that the other one doesn't have.
More options button. Pop up window. New group and list.
So you find new group.
Mark all red.
Mark all red. That is marking all the messages you have as red.
Invite friends.
Invite friends.
Settings.
And settings. So
Message.
Signal.
Navigate up button out of list.
If I tap here in settings, the first thing on the top is your name and your phone number. And the second thing is the SMS. That is if you want to make Signal become your
notifications on 3:11. SMS and MMS off 2:11.
So you could turn that on if you want it to be your default SMS messaging. And then there's
notifications on 3:11.
Notifications on.
Privacy screen lock off. Registration lock off 4:11.
You go in here, you could choose all kinds of privacy related stuff.
Appearance, theme system default, language system default, 5:11.
Here you can go in and whether you want a dark mode or whatever mode you want.
Chat and media, 6:11.
Chat and media, you can go in here and let's see what we have here. We got.
When using mobile data, images, audio, 2:13.
So when you're using your local mobile data, you could by default, you can get all of your video and all of that. You can go in and say, hey, if I'm using native data, don't do that.
When using Wi-Fi, images, audio, video, documents, 3 of 13. When roaming, images, audio, video, documents, 4 of 13.
All right.
Chats, heading, 6 of 13.
Under heading and chat.
Message font size, normal, 7 of 13.
For those who can see a little bit, you want to change the fonts or whatever the case may be.
Show invitation prompts. Display invitation prompts for contacts without signal. On. Switch. Check. Use system emoji. Disable signals built-in emoji support. On. Switch. Check. 9 of 13.
Now, I turned this one on because the emojis that are coming from Signal are not accessible. And I thought that if I just turn use the one from the native, that is from my Android phone, instead of using those from Signal, that they may be accessible to me. But you know what? I found out the hard way, rather, that they too were not accessible. So if you're into emojis, I'm not, but if you're into emojis, your best bet is to tap the emoji on your keyboard, like on your Gboard, and use those emojis instead. Those are accessible. But if you don't, you're not going to be able to hear the emojis. You're just unlabeled.
Enter key sends. Pressing the enter key will send text messages. Off. Switch. Not checked. 10 of 13. Backups. Heading. 12 of 13.
Backups heading.
Chat backups. Backup chats to external storage. 13 of 13.
So what that means is that you can go in here and turn on backup. And when you turn on that backup, you can, unlike WhatsApp, that you can have it backed up automatically to your Google Drive and things like that. We don't have that here. So you're going to back it up locally to a storage, external storage. Say if you have an SD card, or you can back it to your phone and then you can copy it to your computer or something like that. So that's what that means. But I also want to mention here in passing that when you do, and you go in here and you tap on it to activate that backup, it's going to give you like a 30 alphanumeric code. You want to copy that and keep, because it's going to give it to you just that one time. All right.
Navigate up button out of list.
That, I think that was the last.
Enter key sends. Pressing the enter back chat backups. Backup chats to external storage. 13 of 13.
That's the last one. So we're going to go back to the top and
Chats and media. 6 of 11. Storage. 7 of 11.
storage. That's you go in here. You can say, hey, keep my messages for only this long.
4.1 MB. Photos, videos, files, audio. Heading. 2 of 7. List. 7 items. Review storage.
So
Message history. Heading. 4 of 7.
message history.
Keep messages forever. 5 of 7.
You can keep messages forever, or you could set a time that they would just adios.
Conversation length limit. None. 6 of 7.
And the conversation limit, you can set it to, hey, I only want to get X amount of conversations, but the default is unlimited.
Clear message history. 7 of 7.
All right, so let's go back here and go to the thing that matters most.
Link devices. 8 of 11.
So linked devices is what we want.
Link devices. Navigate up button out of list.
And now that we are in the link devices area, there's a button at the bottom that says link new device. And what happens is that when you tap on that, it automatically launches the camera, and you need to point the back of your camera at your computer screen. So now I'm going to find that button at the bottom right that says link new device and tap on it, and then go point it at my computer.
Link new device. Button. Link devices.
So now I'm going to go point it.
Link this device. It will be able to read all your messages, send messages in your name. Link device.
So I tap
Link
link device.
Use this device's name at laptop AMDP78Q5. Devices. 8 of 11.
So now that I've linked it, it says the name of it, and it says my laptop, whatever. You can give it whatever name.
Selected. Edit laptop AMDP78Q.
I'm going to call it Big Dog.
Choose this device's name at laptop AMD.
So I activate the
laptop
edit
AMD78.
field, and I'm going to call it,
Selected.
Big Dog. Big Dog.
Signal. Virtual PC.
Okay, so
Sensing contacts and groups.
now it says it's just let it do that.
Meeting controls. Menu. Signal 2. Signal 2. Sensing contacts and groups.
Now we need to go into the preferences. You can do the traditional method of doing Alt F and go down and find preferences. Like if you do.
Context menu. Signal pack 1 of 3. Preferences. Control comma 2 of 3. Quick signal 3 of 3.
So
Menu. Signal 2. Signal.
I'm going to go through the quick route, which is
slower.
Control comma. That brings up the preferences. Once you do Control
Blank.
comma,
Page has 8 headings and 1 link. Link close. Link
you
close.
can actually use your later navigation here. So I'm going to go through the headings. So I hit the heading navigation, letter H.
Preferences. Heading level 2.
That's preferences, and then down arrow.
Device name. Big Dog.
Device name is Big Dog.
Separator. Heading level 3 theme.
Then the next one is theme.
Blank. System radio button not checked. 1 of 7.
System.
Light radio button checked. 2 of 7.
Light.
Dark radio button not checked. 3 of 7.
Dark. That's dark mode. If you like that, you hit enter.
Dark radio button checked. 3 of 7.
Check
Virtual PC
that.
cursor.
Now I'm going to hit my heading command again to move to the next heading.
Notifications heading level 3.
That's the notification with down arrow through the options of notification.
Blank. When messages arrive, display notifications that reveal. Blank. Name, content, and actions radio button checked. 4 of 7. Name only radio button not checked. 5 of 7.
So you have this.
Name, content, and actions radio button checked. 4 of
So
7.
that's the one that's checked by default. I'm going to move to the next heading.
General heading level 3.
Under general, this is what we have.
Blank. Enable spell check of text. Enter the message composition box. Check box checked. Blank. Separator.
Next heading.
Calling heading level 3.
Calling.
Blank. Always relay calls. Checkbox not checked.
Always relay call. That means if you do that, it's going to relay it through the servers of Signal, which means your number or name will not be seen by the person that you are calling. But according to Signal, sometimes that will lead to poor quality. All right.
Blank. Relay all calls through the Signal server to avoid revealing your IP address to your contact. Enabling will reduce call quality. Blank. Play calling sounds. Checkbox checked. Show notifications for calls. Checkbox checked. Enable incoming calls. Checkbox checked. Separator.
Next heading.
Permissions heading level 3.
Permissions.
Blank. Allow access to the microphone. Checkbox not checked.
I need to allow that.
Allow access to the microphone. Checkbox checked. Allow access to the camera. Checkbox not checked.
If you want someone to see your knucklehead, you allow this.
Allow access to the camera. Checkbox checked.
Yeah, watch my knucklehead.
Separator. Blank.
Next heading.
Heading level 3 contacts.
Contacts.
Import now button.
Then there's import now. If you click here.
Close settings, preferences, device name, big dog theme system, light archive menu bar notifications when messages arrive, display notification.
All right. So now
link close settings.
If you do control home, that takes you to the top and there's a close that hit enter or space there. That closes this panel. That is the preferences panel. So we're back to Signal, and here you can use your letter B, or you could use the arrow keys to find the contacts and things like that.
Search button. AP Austin Pinto button.
There's Austin there.
DL Dennis Long button.
Dennis there. Now, here's the thing I want to mention here in passing, though, that after you got this going and someone calls you, just use your letter B. It will take you to the buttons. There are 2 buttons. The first one is the decline button, and the second one is the answer button. Now, these buttons are unlabeled. Now, if you're using JAWS, while that call is going through and you hit letter B and it takes you to the first one, which is decline. If you want to label it, you do Control Insert Tab, and that brings up the dialog to label that button. So you label it, give it a name, maybe decline or whatever, and do the same thing, the next unlabeled button, and do the same Control Insert Tab and give it a label of answer call or whatever you want to give it. And that will be how you answer calls using your computer. Now, quickly now to the phone. There's not much difference. Everything's about the same. So there we are. And I'm back to the main UI. And so I just sent my friend Lydia a little message. So it says delivered and things like that. So one thing to keep in mind here is that Signal, unlike WhatsApp, does not have those tabs, because in WhatsApp you have things like the chat tab, the status tab, and the calls tab. We don't have that here with Signal. So the one screen you see, that's all you have. You can just scroll up and down through the contacts, or the messages rather, that you've received. Now, at the bottom of the screen here are 2 buttons. There is
Open camera button out of list.
Open camera. You tap on that, it's going to turn on your selfie camera.
New conversation button.
And new conversation. Now, when you tap on new conversation,
Showing English US QWERTY keyboard.
and of course, you could type the name of the person that you want to, correspond with.
Contact photo, Dennis Long, 5 contact photo, Bosnia Macy member, 5 contact photo, Park Ahmed, Pakistan.
So
Contact photo, Dennis Long, 570.
let me say I want to send Dennis a message. Dennis, I'm not going to send you a message. And so here at the bottom is the compose. So the edit field to the left of it is that emoji which I told you if you tap on, it's not going to work. That's all you hear.
Sticker keyboard page image button. Sticker keyboard page image button. Sticker keyboard page image button. Row 2. Sticker keyboard page image button. Column 3. Sticker keyboard page image button. Column.
That's all you hear. So you're better off using the emoji keyboard on your virtual keyboard. Now, the next thing we want to do, I tap here. And what we want to do from here, I'm going to close out of the signal from my computer because it's coming on. There we go. So here, to the right of the edit field, we have
Your safety number within Islam has changed. Toggle quick camera attachment door. Button. Out of list.
There's camera attachment.
Record and send audio attachment. Button.
Record audio.
Add attachment. Button.
Or attach whatever you want to attach. And that will be Signal. So it's very simplistic, very easy. And using the screen reader, it works. Yes, there may be quirks on the side of the computer, but it's better than anything else that we have currently if you're looking for privacy. And that will be the demonstration for Signal.
It is worth noting that Signal is also available on the iPhone. The only difference is you cannot set it as your default messaging app, but it is available and it is accessible from what I have been able to see.
Now, Austin, do you want to demonstrate Telegram?
So now we are going to demonstrate Telegram on the PC and on the phone. So first I'm going to demonstrate how to set up Telegram on your PC. So on the PC, the accessible Telegram to get is called Unigram. There are also JAWS scripts and Nvda add-ons for Unigram. We will have the links in the show notes to download the Unigram, the scripts, the add-on, and also the Signal demonstration apps required for Signal. So I'm going to open the Microsoft Store. You need to open the Microsoft Store app on Windows 10.
Start window. Search window. S. T. Microsoft Store app. Press right. Microsoft Store window. But best selling game. Best entertainment. Get best set. See more user profile. Search button. Button 1 space. User profile button. Collapse 1 of 1. Search button space. Search grouping. Search edit lang.
And I need to type Unigram, that is Unigram.
One suggestion.
Search box.
Search button 1 of 2. Results for Unigram. Results available on show all app list. Unigram Telegram for Windows 10 not selected. Unigram Telegram
this
for
is
Windows
the one that
10
we want.
37 top selected. Back button list home 1 back button list search button user profile view down see more but document main land Unigram is blank show fold wish list but clickable overview screenshots enlarge addition more but no next no more script show wish show full share category published by show more install button.
Click on install.
Clickable download now button download now.
And click on download now.
Link at button pause installation.
And it's currently
3%.
Installing and you can hear the
15%,
progress bar.
25%, 35%, 49%, 59%, 76%, 86%. Link at button pause installation 100% launch button.
So it is installed. So let me just close the Microsoft Store.
Zoom window start button.
And launch Unigram directly.
Start with free screen recently at free group access LR B bill C calendar Gillis G gold wave. I pay all that folk lay out of RE said shit stop snip all that spot sticky sync team Vero tips all that Unigram 1 of 1.
So here is Unigram. Let's launch this Unigram app.
Unigram window start messaging button.
And setting up Unigram is very easy on the PC. You don't need to scan any QR code or anything. I'll click on start messaging.
Button proxy settings link go back button or log in using your phone number link.
So this is nice. You can either scan the QR code or you can log into your phone number, which is very accessible. And I will take the phone number route.
Choose a country combo box India collapsed.
So my default country is India.
Edit +91.
And that's my area code.
OK button.
And
Edit
I need
+91.
to,
Blank.
okay, now I need to enter my phone number. So I will be entering my number and get back.
OK button.
So I'll hit the OK button now.
Space. Quick log and use OK button. Code edit blank.
So I've got a message here on my phone. So that the message that you get, the code that you will get is in the Telegram app and not messaging app. So I'll go back.
Edit box. Back. Telegram. 4 new messages. Telegram. Login code 42038. Do not give this code to anyone.
So that is the login code.
4299038. Telegram dialog. Telegram needs access to your contacts so that you can connect with your friends across all your devices. Your contacts will be continuously synced with Telegram's heavily encrypted cloud servers. Continue button.
So as I put the code in, it logged into Telegram by default, and now it's asking me to give access to contacts.
Not continue button.
I'll hit the continue button.
Space. Open navigation menu button. Let Unigram access your contacts. Dialog. Let Unigram yes button. Space. Unigram window. Open navigation menu button.
So this is the navigation button. You come directly here. If I hit the space bar,
space. Show accounts button.
You hit show accounts. There are only one account here, so it will show that account.
List. New group 1 of 11.
New group. Now let's see, because I want to caution you that if you make a new group using the phone app, that the phone's Telegram app, that part is not accessible. I mean, you can enter the group name, you can add the recipients, but then you go into an admin panel and you get all checkboxes which are not labeled. So let's see if Unigram is accessible.
Enter group name edit blank. TEST. Add members button. Pop-up dialog. Close button. Select contacts. List. Telegram. Warren not selected. 2 selected.
So I'll only add Warren to the group.
Send button. Add members button. Button. Link. Tab control. Telegram. One new archive chats but Telegram. Open navigate search. Go back next button. Link. Enter group name. Add members button. Button. Link. Tab button. Add members.
And there are some unlabeled buttons here.
Space. Link. Tab control. Chats tab select. Button. Add members. Enter group name. Link. Next button. Space.
I'll hit next.
Message edit blank. List. You created.
So that is the group created. So this also is not accessible. Unfortunately, you cannot do any administrative work. You cannot make people administrators and all that is not accessible. So that needs to be fixed on.
Go back button.
So we'll go back.
Tab control group test. Open navigation mess space.
And
Show
we'll
accounts
open
button.
navigation back.
List. New group 1 of 11.
So this is new group. We just saw this.
New secret chat 2 of 11.
Now, secret chat is you can have encrypted chats with people, with the users of Unigram. This is more private than the normal chat.
New channel 3 of 11.
And you can create a channel. Now, what is a channel? Channel is like an announcement only mailing list. So people can just say that, okay, new version of this product is available. You cannot post anything. Only the admin of the channel can post messages to the channel.
Chats 5 of 11.
These are all your chats.
Contacts 6 of 11.
These are your contacts on
Calls 7 of 11.
Unigram, and these are the calls.
Settings 8 of 11.
Now, settings are similar to the phone settings, but it's laid out a bit differently. We'll have to go here.
Search settings and
I'm not going to go through all the settings because it will take a long time.
more options button. Go back button. Tab control. Setting change profile picture button.
You can change your profile picture.
Phone button plus 90 username button.
You can get your phone number. You can get your username.
Bio button. Add a few words about your
You can
set.
add your few words.
Folders button.
There are folders. You can save your chats in different folders.
Notifications and sounds button.
You can go here and change
Space.
some sounds
Privacy
and
and security button.
the way you get notifications. Then you have privacy and security where you can lock Unigram. We will be seeing the settings in the phone app because there the settings are laid out a bit easily. So let's go back here. I'm not going to waste more time on the Unigram settings because
Data
it
and
is
storage.
laid little complicated.
Open that tab control. Open search button. Tab group blind app.
So this is the blind Android users group that we just got a message from. Let's go here and see what is the message.
Group blind Android message. Go to next mention list. Just Austin pin.
And we are going down.
100%. Gary. That's 12 Jan.
So one of the problem with Unigram is I don't know what happens to it. When you go to a group and you hit Shift Tab, you land in a list of messages way like you can see very old messages even though you have seen
Unread
them
messages
before.
100 Citilinges were in Galagi. Friends, I am using Redmi 9 Prime device and the device I am unable to find app icon to open all apps list. So if I need to open any apps I am using Google Voice command are opening from the home screen of the device.
So this is the message and you can read the message on your PC in this way. So now let's go back and let me show you how to send a voice message.
Link, join button.
Now this join button. Now what is this join button that you saw is that Telegram has launched recently group voice chat. So you can click on join button and you can join the voice chat of the group where two people can, more than two, the entire group can come together and have a voice chat. And right now no one is having a voice chat on the group, so we cannot join anything, but you can start a voice chat by joining this button.
Link, go back button.
And there are some unlabeled links here. That is one more problem. Another problem that I want to tell listeners about is, let's say if you call somebody using the Unigram app and you minimize the app and you try to open some other app, the person who you're talking to will not be able to hear you unless you come back to the Unigram app. So that is another bug that listeners must know about Unigram.
Tab control.
So we'll go back.
Group, blind app, group, test, Telegram, group, techie, Warren, you cancel, message edit.
We'll send a voice message to Warren. Let's disturb Warren and see if Warren can get the message.
Attach media emojis, record voice message toggle button, speech mode off.
Hello, this is a voice message recording on the podcast. Are you getting the message? So what you want to do is you want to press your space bar on the record voice message and speak your message and then release the space bar. It is the same way you do on your phone's send message or voice message button.
Go back button, tab.
So this is the demonstration of Unigram. So now we have finished setting up Unigram on a PC and we have demoed Unigram on the PC. Let's see the Unigram on the phone and let's see what is different.
Warren, send at 12:56.
This is the Telegram beta and I use Telegram beta, but if you are new to Telegram, I would recommend that you use the stable version of Telegram, although there are no bugs in the beta, but the stable is better. But I use the beta version of Telegram, and if you want to use the beta version, the links will be in the show notes. You'll have to sideload the APK. Unfortunately, you don't get it it on the Play Store or anything. There is a channel called TG Files, that is Telegram, TG space files. You have to join that channel and they'll give you beta updates whenever the app updates. And once you install a beta, whenever there's an app update, the beta will alert you that, okay, there is an app update. Do you want to update? You click the update now, ask me in a day, or whatever option it gives you. So let's see.
Plus Nord series discussion. Warren. Sent at 12:56
These
p.m.
are the groups
Search button,
and
out of
chat.
list.
This is the chat window. So we have the
Open navigation menu.
open
Button.
navigation on the top left.
Telegram beta.
This is the top of the window.
Open navigation
Open
menu.
navigation.
Search button.
Search is to the right top.
Warren. Sent at 12:56 p.m. Outgoing call 9 minutes 1 of 40. In list
So
40
this
items.
is Warren. We've just called Warren. So this is the call. We can see the call here. And let's send Warren a text message or a voice message and see how it's done.
Plus Nord series discussion group. Back. Warren. Sent at 12:50.
So what happens is
Warren.
sometimes
Voice message. 2 seconds. Not Warren. Last seen.
sometimes when you are doing a double tap and suddenly somebody messages in a different group, your focus moves to that group. So you need to be a little careful of what you want to tap. So I'm going to hit on the voice message. I'm going to hold
Record voice message button.
and keep it held. Hello Warren, are you getting this message? Reply if you get a message.
Edit box. Message.
So you can either hold and send, that is hold to record, release to send, and your message will go out to whoever you send. You can also send a video message. Now to send a video message, what you would want to do is
Record voice message button.
this record voice message, you have to double tap
Record video message button.
and it switches to record a video message. And if you hold this, you can then show your knucklehead to your friends and your family and your relatives and whoever you want to show it to so they can see you. Let's switch back to audio since I don't want to
Record
send
voice message
my knucklehead to anyone. So yes, that's the thing interesting here. So let's go into the navigation option now. Let's go back
Back. Telegram bait. Expanded. Track and tag.
and let's open the navigation.
Play button. Expanded. Play. Expanded. Track. Group. Plus play button. Warren. Group. Plus Nord series. Warren. Search. Open navigation. Open navigation.
So this is the navigation and it does not say anything.
Austin Pinto. Switch to night. Austin Pinto.
So
Plus
this is
9.
your name and your number.
Switch to night theme button.
You can switch to either night theme.
New group. 3 of 11.
You can set a new group, and as I told you before that this is accessible, you can create the group, but when you want to do administrative roles, that part is not accessible. There are unlabeled checkboxes and all those things, so that is a problem.
Contacts. 4 of 11.
These are your contacts on Telegram.
Calls. 5 of 11.
You can see your calls here, call history.
People nearby. 6 of 11.
People nearby. Now these are people using Telegram nearby. If you give Telegram GPS access, location access, it will show you people using Telegram nearby.
Save messages. 7 of 11.
Save messages. You can save your messages here.
Settings. 8 of 11.
This is the settings window. We'll come back here.
Invite friends. 10 of 11.
Now invite friends. You can send your friends an invite link to Telegram via message, via WhatsApp, email, or whatever you want to do. Do that.
Telegram FAQ. 11 of
This
11.
opens a website. This is the FAQ, so we don't want to go here. There is no interesting option here. Let's go into settings. And I will
Setting. Save
quickly
messages. 7 of 11. Settings. 8 of 11.
browse through the settings. I
Austin
don't want
Pinto.
to make it
Go
very
back.
long.
Set profile photo. 1.
So
4
here
options.
you can
Button.
set your
Set profile
profile
1 of
photo.
26. In list. Account. Heading. 3 of.
And this is
Five.
the
Set
account
profile photo.
heading.
Account. Heading. 3 of 26. Plus 9 1. Not. Username. At Austin Pinto. 5 of
And
26.
that is the phone number, and you go down. That is your username.
Bio. Add a few words about yourself. 6 of
You
26.
can add a few words about yourself in the profile description type of thing.
Settings. Heading. 8 of 26.
Now here starts the settings main heading.
Notifications and sounds. 9 of 26.
Here you can go and change a lot of things, like you can change your notification sounds, your vibration type. It's default, long, short, or you vibrate only when the phone is in silent mode. You can do that. Also, what you will see here is one thing I want to show you here. Let's see.
Notification. Calls. Channels. Groups. On. 4 exceptions. 3 of 33.
Now groups on 4 exceptions. Now these exceptions are the groups that you have muted, so you don't want to receive notifications from groups. Like I am in a group, I'm in multiple groups of OnePlus Nord and OnePlus general development, roaming and all those things. So I receive a lot of messages from the groups and I don't check them often, so I've muted them so that I don't get the notifications.
Back. Austin Pinto. Notifications and sounds. 9 of privacy and security. 10 of
So
26.
here is privacy and security. Now, one thing you want to turn on here, you go here and you get a checkbox. Let me just show you. So if you want to block somebody on Telegram, you can block that user from the privacy settings. It's the first option in the settings. Then you go down and you will get your phone number. Who can see your phone number? It's your contacts only.
Last seen and online. Nobody. 4 of 30.
Nobody can see your last seen and online.
Profile photos. My contacts. 5 of 30.
Okay.
Forwarded messages. Everybody. 6 of 30.
This is forwarded messages in the group that everybody can see.
Calls. My contacts. 7 of 30.
My contacts.
Groups. My contacts. 8 of 30.
So my contacts can call me. They can add me to the group. They can add me to the channel.
Change who can add you to groups and channels. Security. Heading. 10 of 30.
Now here comes the most important thing that I'm telling you is security.
Passcode lock. 11 of 30.
This is the area where you can set a lock. So when Unigram opens, you can enter a password. When Telegram opens, you enter a password and then only it will open.
2-step verification. Off. 12 of 30.
Now this you would definitely want to enable. Now what this will do is when you are registering Telegram on a new device, you get an OTP like I just showed you when I set up Telegram on your PC. So you have to enter the OTP and then you have to enter a PIN that you generate that will authenticate that it's really you, because if your phone gets misplaced, then there'll be a problem. Then the person finds the phone and registers it on many devices. That will be a problem. So you can turn this on, and I highly recommend that you turn it on. And the remaining settings in this window are self-explanatory. If I go and show you that, we'll have to do a whole podcast on Telegram. And definitely, if you want a whole podcast on Telegram, message us. You can give us feedback and we will see what we can do. Now you can save your shipping info, payment info also here. And I would not recommend you to do that because that is confidential information.
And security, 10 of 26.
This is a social media app and there can be breaches and data leaks and things. So it's not recommended that you do that.
Data and storage, 11 of 26.
You can go here, see your storage used. You can see how Telegram downloads messages or how it downloads images, videos, and all those things. So when you're on Wi-Fi, you can tell it to download all that data. When you are on mobile network, you can restrict the data that you download so that you're not charged extra.
Chat settings, 12 of 26.
These are chat settings. These are themes and all you can put for chats. You can switch it to dark mode and all those things.
Folders, 13 of 26.
These are folders. You can save your chats into folders.
Devices, 14 of 26.
These will show you a list of devices. Let's go quickly here.
Devices, out of go. List of Telegram Android 7.2. Anagram the 3rd of July. Scan QR code. Active sessions. Heading 5 of 20.
So here you can see your active sessions.
Scan Anagram the 3rd of July 59:51. 12:44 p.m.
So that is the active
Anagram the 3rd of July
session.
59:51. 11:15 a.m. Ghostro 3490. Windows 10. Unofficial app ID 87,000.
So
Telegram
that
Android
is
7.
the whole
Anagram is
option that you will see when all you logged into Telegram
Austin
and
Pinto.
from where you are logged
Notifications
in.
and sound. Privacy and data and storage. Chat settings, 12. Folders. Devices. Language, 15 of 26.
Here you can change your language, which is self-explanatory.
Help. Heading 17 of 26.
These are the help options that
Ask a question,
you can
18
go.
of 26. Telegram FAQ. Privacy policy. Debug. Heading. Send logs. 23 of
Now
26.
debug is extra. You can send the logs to Telegram developers and see if you have a problem and they ask you to send them the logs. You can send the logs and they can resolve your problem. And
Clear logs. 24 of
you can
26.
clear logs.
Telegram for Android V7.3.1.
This is the version. And that is it for the settings, and that is it for the demonstration of Telegram. Now I want to put a little point here that the beta version of Telegram updates every day almost. There has been a few days now since there has not been any update, but it updates every day. So if you get an update, you can install the update every day. And we will have links in the show notes for the channel from where you can get the beta APK. You can download it and install any version. Or if it's easy, let me see. If it's easy, I'm going to give you an APK for an older version of Telegram from my OneDrive, and you can install that. And then what will happen is it will ask you to update, and then you can update to the newest version of Telegram. So that is it. That is the demo from my side for Telegram on the phone and Telegram on the PC.
That was a great demonstration, Warren and Austin. Thank you for that.
And now let's turn our attention to a special segment, and that will be the My Android story, so that we could get ourselves a good cheer regardless of what Samsung has done, has not removed, or has removed, and what Facebook is doing to get into our privacy. How about now we hear it from our friend Pierre from France with respect to his Android journey. Pierre, give us your story, my man.
Hello everyone, my name is Pierre Aubry. I have been blind almost since birth. I had a retinoblastoma which declared itself when I was less than a year old. And so I wanted to talk about my Android story, my history with Android. As you are interested, and it's pretty fun to talk about, if I can say so myself. So I've been using Android since 2017. Before that, I had an iPhone 4S, but it was pretty much like a dumb phone. It was a smartphone, of course, but I didn't use it very differently compared to, let's say, the Nokia feature phone I had before. And that's why, that's because the data plan I had as a teenager was really limited. Like, I had 50 megabytes of internet, so there wasn't much I could do with it. And I have been keeping this iPhone 4S for quite some time, perhaps 3 to 4 years, keeping it on iOS 7. And when 2017 came, I wanted to change everything, the data plan, the phone, and the OS. So that's I initially wanted to go for Android when my Nokia was stolen. The reason I went for an iPhone instead was because back at the time, Android accessibility didn't have a very good reputation. I don't know about the US because you started with Android much before me, but in France at least it didn't have a very good reputation. So I went with the iPhone. So in 2017, I was initially going to buy a Samsung Galaxy S8. It was a very anticipated device from a popular brand, and I thought I could just start with that, but was a bit hesitant, especially since the device was a bit expensive. I went to my career, and after that I decided I would take some time to reflect on that. And eventually I got introduced to OnePlus by a French podcast called CCTech, and the podcaster was presenting the OnePlus 5 at the time and demonstrated the talkback, the accessibility, the few flaws it had in that regard, but it was really mostly usable. I realized that there were many brands I didn't know about. There were at least probably many of them, and I made a lot of research, and I learned about many things, Android skins, and why it was not a good idea to get an Android phone from the carrier if you didn't want later updates. So skins updates, side loading, XDA, custom ROMs. I learned about all of it. And then I decided that at least for my first contact with Android, I would choose something that was stock Android, or at least relatively close to stock. Back then there was the Pixel 2 and the Essential phone. They would have been excellent choices. Unfortunately, they weren't officially available in France. I could have, I guess, imported a Pixel 2 from Germany, though it wasn't that easy, I believe. So I didn't do it. I wanted a high-end phone, and that left me with a few options: Nokia 8, Sony Xperia XZ1. Was especially interested with in the XZ1 compact coming from an iPhone 4S, the Nokia, the Sony, or the OnePlus 5T, and I eventually chose the OnePlus 5T. I got it in early 2018, and it wasn't the closest to stock. Oxygen OS wasn't the closest thing to stock. It sort of got further and further from stock as it evolved. It shipped with Android 7.1.1 Nougat compared to the Sony, most notably, which shipped with 8.0 Oreo or 8.0. I'm not sure how you say it. But it wasn't the most accessible out of the box. I think it wasn't, especially compared to the Nokia. But I think it was a device with a relatively good specs for a relatively low price, and I went for it. And I think that's overall the best choice I could have made. It was quite an exciting first contact with Android, and the fact it wasn't completely accessible played a bit quite frankly, especially with the update to Oreo. And the problem with the dialer, with the fact you had to literally long press a cipher each cipher when you were dialing a number. That was frustrating, but then I already knew about unofficial Google dialer, side loading, and also I already had the solution to the problem. So literally, so that led me the occasion to practice what I learned about side loading. I did it for the dialer. I did it for the camera. And the phone itself, otherwise, was pretty good. It felt fast, pretty optimized. Didn't have to Oxygen OS is known for let's say controversial RAM management and resulting in delayed notifications. I didn't have to complain with that too much, at least until the Android Pie update. And yes, the phone was cool. It had its flaws. It had mediocre speaker, mediocre vibrator. If you had an Nexus 5X or 6P, you know that vibrator. But it was again relatively inexpensive, and the charging technology, the dash charge, 20 watts dash charge technology was ahead of the competition at the time in terms of both charging speed and heat management. The phone charged quickly and hardly heat up at all. You almost couldn't feel it. It was quite impressive. I enjoyed this device for the most part. I felt like, especially in security updates, the OnePlus was slightly perhaps overrated because I often had security updates at the end of the month or at the end of the other month. And the only very notable exception was the August 2019 security patch, which they deployed pretty quickly for some reason. But besides that, I like the phone. I yet have to try to install a custom ROM on it. Right now it's in my drawer because even after I got the phone, I still got very interested in Android. in smartphones, but most notably in Android and how it evolved and the new smartphone releases and such. And the middle of 2019, Asus released the Zenfone 6, and I was very impressed with the specs. They released it, probably released it, but they presented it a few days after OnePlus, which presented the OnePlus 7 Pro back then. And they said for the 7, excuse me, the OnePlus 7 Pro, they said for the 7 Pro, they put 4,000 milliampere hour battery, and the pop-up, yes, it was the pop-up camera, and they said it was not enough for headphone jack, and a few days after, Asus presented the Zenfone 6 with flip camera, which is even more useful than pop-up, especially if you tend to do selfies or video conference. And the Zenfone 6, it had that flip camera, it had that 5,000 milliamp hour battery, which was relatively rare in 2019. It's much more current in 2020, actually. And it had the headphone jack on top of that, and it had pretty rare features. It has that notification LED, and it had a proper triple slot with 2 SIMs and micro SD, which was extremely rare on flagships, even on affordable flagships such as this one. So there was that phone, and it had all these features and relatively clean software, with a few cool additions, a bit like Oxygen, but without the RAM management issues it usually comes with, and other differences, but kind of same philosophy. And I was really impressed and interested by this phone, and I also wanted to experience stereo speakers. And in February 2020, I bought a Zenfone 6, which many say it's hard to find, but in France it was not too hard, surprisingly. And this phone also had its few flaws. Very slow VoLTE rollout, few accessibility flaws here and there in even the latest version of the skin, Zen 7 with Android 11. But even with and also the stereo speakers are not that good, because it's done the stereo is done with the earpiece, and it lacks power compared to the loudspeaker. The Asus ROG phone line is known for very good stereo, but the reason I got for Zenfone instead is because they usually have better software support. It's not a problem with this particular line, the ROG phone line. It tends to be a problem with so-called gaming phones in general. Asus, when it comes to updating gaming phones, they aren't even necessarily the worst. But their Zenfone line, which is supposed to be the more mainstream series, usually gets better support. And it wasn't super consistent, but it was, when it comes to security updates, it was better than OnePlus overall. It depends. It's not too great right now, probably because they have multiple devices for beta test for Android 11. But otherwise, I have had mostly monthly security updates, and sometimes I receive them pretty early in the month. So yes, Zen UI has its flaws when it comes to accessibility, but it's pretty cool. For example, they emphasized it on the last iteration. It has all those battery care features, charge limit, scheduled charging for the night, the kind of stuff you would very likely find on Sony Xperia devices. You can now find on Asus. So the UI and this phone, I could probably go into more details in another occasion. As far as iOS goes, as I said, I didn't give it too much of a chance. If you ask me if I would give it another chance, perhaps provided I could use Face ID with attention mode, and with given my prosthesis for right eye and the surgery I had where my left eye is, it seems rather unlikely, and I can't imagine choosing an iPhone if I can't use Face ID with attention mode. And the SE 2020 is pretty interesting, but the battery size, for example, is what has me worried. And most importantly, I'm happy with Android, but I'm not completely against giving iOS another chance. It's just that I yet have to test attention mode, Face ID attention mode, and if I can't, then there's no buying an iPhone. If I can't use it, there's no buying an iPhone for me, especially since in Europe they tend to be quite a bit more expensive compared to in the US. So yeah, Android I like. I don't adhere to every evolutions it had. It has known. In fact, do I tested Android from 7 to 11? My favorite version so far was Android Oreo. Especially the fact you had that accessibility volume for the first time, but the fact you could clean all the cache at once without resorting to ADB, the fact the volume control was so cohesive. You could if you're listening to media, it would modify media volume. Otherwise, it would modify ringtone volume. And if you kept finger on the screen, it would modify accessibility volume. And that cohesiveness, I feel like it has gone almost entirely through the window with Android Pie. Android Pie, honestly, for me, felt like a downgrade in several aspects. Volume control, it feels a bit better with Android 11. I'm not sure if it has to do with Asus or with Google, as Asus has added a few modifications, such as modify ringtone volume by default, or and such, and it felt a bit better, but probably because Asus in their current skin, it's like how about a bit of Nougat or Oreo on top of your Android 11? So both Android phones I really liked. They had their few flaws, but they were good specs with mostly good software and relatively affordable. And I guess again I could talk about them in more detail on another occasion, perhaps. So yeah, that's it for my history with Android. Um, I hope it was fine enough. I know it was long, and I write English somewhat often, but I don't speak it very often. I try to do good accent, I know, but I may fail. because it's not my native language, it's French, of course. But as I said in my email, I really enjoy your podcast. So I wish you can keep up the good work as much as possible, and wish you the best. Bye.
So, Pierre, thank you for that long story and a detailed story. Yes, the OnePlus 5T brought back good memories. I got the OnePlus 6T, so I hope our listeners enjoyed the story.
Thank you so much, Pierre, for that wonderful story.
And remember, if you have feedback on the podcast, things you want to see, send us that note at contactus@blindandroidusers.com, because this was done because a lot of user feedback said, hey, we don't want to use WhatsApp anymore. What is a good alternative? So you, the listeners, gave us the idea for this. Now, next week, we're going to have a really interesting episode, and it's a special episode. It is
Mystery
Austin.
Man.
Yes, Austin, you're going to be the man of the hour, and you're going to tell us how to ROM a device. Now, I will say, we are not responsible if you do not follow the directions, so do read everything carefully. That being said, for the adventurers that want to ROM, happy ROMing.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. That is, if I'm going to use a traditional word of the sense of the word, tuning in. And I keep that dial right here, because we will be back next week with the man of the hour, none other than Austin Pinto. Austin?
Yeah, I can't wait to put the next week's show together. It will be very interesting.